Let me tell you something about this young man. His last topic last week was, what can I do to advance your business? That's what he talked about last week. What can you do to advance your business? Matter of fact, I saw him in Cleveland, Ohio. Let me explain what a leader, how I have so much respect for this young man. The respect I have from him, I saw him in Cleveland. When I walked in, he was sitting down. I'm gonna say it one more time. Leaders, he was sitting down. He wasn't standing up, being boastful. He wasn't walking around like a peacock. He wasn't trying to be noticed. He was sitting down. Matter of fact, not only was he sitting down in the back row. And not only, more important to me, he was taking notes as he always does. See, that to me, I have so much, that's why I have so much respect for this gentleman. He's sitting down, taking notes with his team sitting there on his row, with his journal out in the back row, sitting down, taking notes. I set the whole thing, taking notes. So I just have so much respect for him. That's right, Mr. Culver. He's a student of the game. Without further ado, I love his topic last week. His last week topic was, what can I do to advance your business? And I tell you what, the week before that, not a can or a can't, it's a will or won't. Y'all been taking good notes because I'm going through my notes. Without further ado, from Southern California, one of HDN's influencer, a Circle of Champions. I like to call them Circle of Champions because that's what they are to me, and an influencer. Without further ado, the one and only, the great Mr. Dean Tarrolly.
Good morning. How are you, sir? Hey, man, it was great to see you. That was awesome. So, yeah, great event. We're building into Fort Lauderdale, so that's really good. And it's an exciting time right now. So you guys, let me, I got a lot to cover in a short period of time. I got a couple things to show you. You're going to hear from a gentleman that is doing some great things. So first and foremost, you guys know how I feel about Al. The opportunity to be a part of a call like this 5 days a week, arranging all the guest speakers. And, you know, I start every Thursday that I do this, I always start with the same thing because, man, it's so easy to take things for granted, and it's easy to take people for granted. It's easy to take an opportunity for granted. And God knows it's easy for leaders to be taken for granted in this business. And as you start to become one and you have a team growing, you're going to notice that. And you'll also notice people that don't take you for granted. You'll notice people that are willing to be coached. You're going to hear about that from a gentleman that I'm going to have share a few things with. You're going to understand that the only way to become significant in this business as a leader is you have to match that significance as a student, right? Like that's the only way you can do it. It doesn't happen without it, right? So just know that a lot of us, a lot of the company has been taught, coached, mentored in one way, shape, form, or another by Al Thomas. So I just hope you guys don't take him for granted. I didn't take him for granted as a leader in the business. But then as I got to know him, we became friends. And people throw that word around like, that's my friend, he's my friend. Really? See, here's what I know. I did not know Al Thomas before ACN. And in the first couple of years he was in ACN, I was already in. I didn't really get to know him. But I'm telling you guys this, and I mean this sincerely. I believe that if I needed to reach him and I was like, Al, Dean, 911, how quickly can you get back to me? Unless he was on a plane and couldn't talk, I honestly believe that I would hear back from him like, and he knows the same for me. And those kind of relationships should not be taken for granted. So I'm going to get off my soapbox. I'm going to do it again next week. So be prepared. That's how I start. Al, I love you. You're awesome. And thanks for doing this for everybody. I don't take it for granted. I hope nobody else does. So are you ready? You sure? Okay. Jen's like, put it down. Let's go. I got it. I see you, Jen. All right. By the way, I love that Sam Foster always has his camera on. You know, I pick on, not pick on, but I always, sensational Sharian. We have this whole thing because she jumps on some of my other calls as well. And it's a little bit like a game show, like what glasses is she going to wear? And there's that game. And then there's always seeing Sam and Jen. Yeah, this is such a good group. I'm pulling for you guys. So, all right. We started the month talking about, and Al mentioned this, that ACN is not a can or a can't, it's a will or a won't. Right? It's not that somebody can or can't do it, it's somebody will or they won't do it. I got a message this morning from one of our up and coming leaders, and someone on her team made a choice that it's going to be a will not. Well, guess what? We know that they're out there. Your job as a leader is to not get emotionally attached to somebody's response. Move on to the next. If those people ever come back, always be willing to support, always be willing to help, always be willing to re-engage. But you guys, let's not be in the convincing business. Okay. Last week, what we talked about is, are you putting in work? And what's your evidence of that work? Are you putting in work, and what's your evidence of that work? And that doesn't mean, cars and boats and stuff. What's the evidence for you of the work that you're doing? Did your business advance? So if you guys remember last week, here's what I asked, and I'm just going to take a minute for this, not long, but I need to know, because I'm not doing this for my health. I'm doing this out of respect for Al and hoping that I might be able to give you guys one thing that will help you advance your businesses because you've signed up for it. And, a lot of you have been really consistent on these calls. So I asked all of you last week, I said, for 1 week, here's what I'm asking of you. And I don't think I ask a lot of you guys, because this is not for me, this is for you. But I asked you for 1 week to do one thing for 7 straight days. And it was get a customer, help someone get a customer, present the business, help someone present the business, get a rep. So I need to know for real, who did one of those 2 things for 7 straight days. Anybody? Okay, Sam, Rachel, Al, Sam, Rachel, Al, Christine. All right, I'm checking the chat. I'm trying to get. Well, Jen, it was last week. I said, I want everyone to do something every day. I wanted someone to get a customer or help someone get a customer, present the business, get a rep, or help someone present the business and get a rep. Because see, here's what I know. And by the way, I know this for a freaking fact. If you got a customer, help someone get a customer, presented the business, or help someone present the business, let me be the first to welcome you to doing ACN. Because that is ACN. This is not ACN. It is not. Al will tell you, this is not ACN. This is preparing and being taught. But ACN is 2 things. So stop freaking fooling yourselves that ACN is anything other than getting a customer, helping someone get a customer, build a team, help someone build their team. That's ACN. Now, do we need to do these things to get better at those 2 things? Absolutely. I am not, you guys, I just got done telling you how much I appreciate these calls. I just got telling you how much I appreciate the gentleman who puts these calls together. But that doesn't pay you. There's no spot on the reports to say how many days a week was I on Al Thomas's call? How many Zooms did I do with Brian Baker? Guess what? It's not on the reports. It's not on the reports. These things serve to build your skill set so you can consistently be on the report so your business can grow more than it recedes in any given month. Do you guys understand this conversation? Yes or no? Great. Sharon said she enrolled a new IBO. Done. That's building the business. That is building the business. Now, don't get it twisted. Can you track those important elements? How many peaks, how many presentations, how many three-way calls? Absolutely you can do that, but it doesn't pay you. What pays you is getting a rep, helping someone getting a rep, getting a customer, helping someone get a customer. Do you guys understand this conversation? Yes or no? I got like one more week with you guys, and then I think I'm done doing these calls. I think Al's put me on the shelf for like 2 years or something like that. I forget what he said, but it was something like that. So I got to make sure that these last 2 weeks okay. So in August, it was can or can't. It's not a can or can't. It's a will or a won't. Last week, are you putting in the work, and what is the evidence? So we got to get into a couple things here. So Ryan Ruiz is a regional director on my team. A lot of you know him. Some of you don't. A lot of you know him. And Ryan is really close to RVP. He's really close. And I want you guys to know that the position that you're in right now and the position that you are working towards is going to require something that I think a lot of people are not prepared to accept, much less engage in. So I need to talk to you guys about this for a second. And it may be a little bit of an uncomfortable situation, but let me be clear with you and look at all of you when I say this. It may be a bit of an uncomfortable situation, and it might be a little bit of an uncomfortable conversation. But I want you all to know on the record, I know this is being recorded, I don't care. So there you go. A leader is someone who will take you to a place that you are not prepared or able to go on your own. The coach is somebody that you may hate during practice, but you love when you're putting the ring on. And it's important to understand that. So the position that you're in right now and the position that you're moving to is going to require disruption. It's going to require a change in your routine. It's going to require juggling the crap that makes your life work on a daily basis to add this thing that you want to get this next result. You know, I've known Jen for a long time. I want nothing more than to see her go RVP. I've known Baker, but we've been friends for a long time. By the way, our friendship didn't start in ACN. It just happened to be at an event. We started talking football. I love this guy. But guess what? I want to see him go regional vice president. I know he's got all kinds of skills in other areas, and he's got skills here, but that's what I'm looking for. So there's a lot of you I'm talking to today from the heart. Understand something. What you're doing is going to have to be altered in order to get to the next position that you're working towards. And the reason I know this is if it didn't, you'd already be at that position based on what it is that you're doing. What you all need to do specifically, other than those two basic things that I just told you, work with your leader. By the way, have a humble conversation with your leader. Get your ego out of the way, regardless of what position you're in. I just had this happen to me with Tony Kupas. Look, you guys, you want to know, like, I have to turn to people who are at a more advanced position than I am to help me get to where they're at. Some of you are more, okay. Al, this may take a minute. So
take your time, sir. Tell them.
Look, some of you are more interested in coaching than being coached. And I'm just telling you, that's a fact. And by the way, that's not even in my notes. And by the way, I got notes. This is for today. Man, look, you got to come into this thing regardless of what position you're at. If someone's at a position that you're working towards, now, whether or not you're going to work towards it, that's up to you. That's up to you. But don't kid yourself. Like, if you're working towards these positions, like you have to come in with a coachable spirit, and you're going to have to hear some things that you don't want to hear, but you've charged the leader that's working with you to help you get to a place. And you can't do it learning half the playbook. You can't do it doing half the exercises. It doesn't work. You know, there's a couple people that I'm like, I keep kind of referring to here, you know. By the way, have you guys ever, you guys ever see Baker's Instagram and all the freaking food he puts on there? Freaking love the guy. I want to strangle him at the same time. I send him text. I'm like, Baker, you're killing me right now. Well, guess what, you guys? All that stuff he makes and he posts in there, that doesn't happen by accident. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, this and that, and this and that. And he shows it. Next thing you know, he's got like garlic sriracha wings. And you're like, oh my God, I wasn't even planning on eating for an hour. Now you got me freaking hungry. But that doesn't happen by accident. There's some care that's been taken to do that. And I could use a lot of examples from a lot of people here. I just happen to see BB right here. But my point is this, that doesn't happen by accident. So you need to get to these positions on purpose. And the number one thing that you have to do is be willing to be coached by the leaders and do and hear and have some uncomfortable conversations to get you where you want to go. But that's where growth takes place. And if you are not interested in growth, I will congratulate you on being at your end position in ACN. Well done. But if that's not where you want to end up, you need to be open to some conversations and get some ego out of the way. That makes sense to anybody? Yes or no? When people decide that they're going to be willing to be coached instead of coach. And by the way, you guys, the better you are at receiving information, direction, instruction, and coaching, the better you're going to be able to deliver that instruction and coaching. So Ryan is in San Antonio, Texas, and he's got a lot of stuff going on. He's got family stuff. I'm not going to talk about his personal business, but just know that he's pulled in a lot of directions. Thanks, Sam. And like everybody, he's pulled in a lot of directions. But the way our business works, and I'm saying this to you because I want this for you, the way our business works is someone knows someone who knows someone, and they may lead you to someone who's serious. Well, then you as the leader or the up and coming leader have to decide how you're going to handle that. And Ryan has a team building right now. Now I want you to think about this. He's in San Antonio, and because someone knew someone, he identified an individual in Laredo, Texas. And it's about 3 hours away. And Ryan understands that we are in a people business. Zoom is amazing. Zoom makes the world a smaller place. Zoom allows us to get to people very quickly, but nothing replaces sitting across the table or a desk or at a coffee shop so someone can feel you. They can feel your heartbeat for them. So Ryan and I had some conversations, and I'll let him tell you what happened this week. He was supposed to go to Laredo for a day. I'll let him tell you what happened. Crazy, but the results are addictive. He wasn't planning on staying in Laredo for 4 straight days. He was planning on going for a day. So I'm going to just let him tell you what's been going on. Why? Because he's in the trenches right now, just like you guys are. I love this guy. I have so much respect for him. I'm going to tell you, we've butted heads on stuff, but he's ultimately come back to being coached. I want people to have ideas. I want people to, I want that. As a leader, I want that. But there's a guiding and a direction to get the things done that we need to get done to advance your business. Mr. Thomas, true statement? So you guys, do me a favor and really listen up so you can hear what's going on in this scenario with regional director, soon to be regional vice president, Ryan Ruiz. Ryan, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Tarrolly. So guys, I just got back to San Antonio right now, literally 10 minutes ago. And I stopped by a friend's apartment real quick, and then I got to head over to Austin right after this. So the story is I literally identified one of my really, really good friends named Crystal. She saw the business through a hotel meeting that we had with Mr. Efren Tejada. Okay. And let me give you guys some vision, right? Who has friends in their sphere of influence in your circle that are just super stubborn and you've tried to get them in front of the business forever, right? And they're just like, no, I'm good, right? Well, it took me 2 years to finally get someone named Crystal, one of my really good friends, in front of the business, right? So the fortune's in the follow-up. Fortune is not giving up on people. I showed her the business. She signs up immediately. She tells me, hey, I love this. I want to get it in front of my Aunt Kathy. Kathy Redenbach is on this call right now. Kathy's group, guys, I came in on Sunday. I was just planning on being there for a meeting or two. I just got back to San Antonio today, right now, like 15 minutes ago, okay? We've put in over 10 reps in the last 3 days, right? We're about to put in excuse my language, but a ton of electric bills. I'm freaking out because I've actually never worked in an electricity market, and we're signing up all these electric accounts, residential and businesses, with no deposits, right? And the average electric bill out there, check this out, guys. One person's electric bill that we signed up was over $700. That was residential, by the way. So we're about to kick butt in Laredo, Texas, and that's all because of me following up with one individual that we're blowing up a team now. I wouldn't be surprised if this team in Laredo pops multiple RCs over the next 30 days. And that's why I'm committed to the group, and that's why I'm driving out there and staying out there, So literally amazing stuff happened. But understand, guys, it's just because I'm I was super coachable to what Mr. Thomas, right, and Mr. Dean Tarrolly preach on, is just being consistent and moving your business forward on a daily basis. And that's all I've been doing, guys. So I'm going to give it back to Mr. Tarrolly. And thank you for allowing me to speak a quick testimony, Mr. Tarrolly.
Ryan, we're so proud of you, man. We're so excited. And here's the thing. Hey, Catherine, I see you. So check this out. You guys, check this out. I want you to think about this. Ryan's game plan was to go and consistently go to Laredo for 1, maybe 2 days. But because Catherine is being serious and Ryan identified it, a 1-day trip turned into a 2-day trip, turned into a 4-day trip. He's got to go back to San Antonio to take care of some crap. And then guess what he's doing? The second it's going right back. Does it mean that he's forgetting the people and his team in San Antonio? Absolutely not. What it means is he found someone in Catherine who's doing the things that would warrant his time, effort, and attention. And that's not coming from ego. If you do this, I'll be back. He just went out there and started what? Working, presenting. And if you guys want, start following Ryan on Instagram, Empire Expansion, or put in his name, whatever it is, start following him. And you're going to see his story of what he's doing. So why is that important? Because you're getting a roadmap on how to get to that position. If you guys want to know why Al does these calls, he wants to see people go SVP. Whether you do it or not, that's up to you. But he's doing his part as a leader and he's giving back. Ryan, I asked him to share the story so he could give back. I try to do my best every other month on here to give back. And by the way, that is not coming from a place of ego. That is coming from a place of wanting to do my best to be a servant leader, which I hope that gets instilled in some of you as well. I tell people all the time, man, get your promotion's great, but there's nothing more fun than watching your team members get promoted. So I want you guys to think about this for a second. Guess how many presentations I did in Laredo these last 4 days? Just none. Right. He didn't need me to do presentations. Now, there's some people I might have a conversation with, paint a little vision. I will absolutely cross-edify to make sure that they know who he's working with. Because sometimes that happens, you would start working closely with a group, a prophet's not welcome in their own hometown. And you can't, sometimes it's a little more difficult to move people into action, which is one of the great silver linings of a call like this with Mr. Thomas, is then you have the opportunity for leaders, different teams, different backgrounds, race, creed, color, all that stuff can come in and sort of pour in. What an asset. What an asset. but let me share this with you. Oh, dude, this could be, Al, this could be a whole nother level of conversation here. Al, all right. So, okay. All right. So go ahead and write this down. Hopefully Al won't get mad at me. I don't think he will. But I would tell you to write this down. You ready? Unapplied knowledge is useless. You can get all the knowledge in the world, but if you don't apply it, it's useless. So, a couple thoughts before I finish up. Hang on. Let me make a little adjustment here. You know, Al, I've been so good, at least I think I've been pretty good about ending on time. But this is going just a hair longer than normal. Okay. So, a couple things, you guys can write these down as well if you want. Number one, winners don't need motivation. Winners need discipline. Ryan is exhibiting a high level of discipline, and now he is getting the results that he has been working towards. And he's disciplined enough to stay consistent. You heard him say that word. He's disciplined enough to stay consistent for those results to have the best chance of happening. You can't, discipline requires more than a day. So discipline, you can write this down if you choose to or not. Go ahead and commit it to memory. Let me know how that goes. Actually, you don't have to. Discipline equals habits. And a habit has to be established before it can be improved. A habit has to be established. So you have to start establishing some habits. Are you going to, like you guys, this last week, I mean, for crying out loud, I said one of those two things for 7 days. I didn't say 10 things a day. I said one customer or help one person get a customer. One presentation or help someone do a presentation. Whether or not you got the result of them actually signing up as a customer or rep, that's a different conversation. You guys, you got to freaking get this. It's a different conversation, but you can't get a rep without a presentation, and you can't get a customer without going through that process. So if you don't do that process, what, I mean, but okay. If you don't do the process, you have zero chance of that happening. Zero, none. So why would you not do one thing a day to advance the business that you said you're committed to and you want to have it alter some things in your life? A habit has to be established before it can be improved. That was the entire reason I asked you guys to do what I asked you to do last week. I just shared it. There you go. I just opened the, you got behind the curtain. The whole reason I asked that of you last week was to start the process of discipline and having a habit established. So now for you, Christina, David, Belinda, Jesse, Mary, Rachel, Sherry, and Tracy, for you, you now have a habit that's starting to be established. And the results are going to improve the more consistently you take the action, because you're going to gain the experience. Do you guys see how this all fits together or no? Well, we'll see, won't we? We'll see. So 2 more points, and I think I'll be done. I think I'll be done. So Write this down if you want. Well, he may have some notes for me later, but here goes. What you like and don't like is irrelevant when you have a goal. I don't care what you like and don't like. Is your goal bigger than your opinion about what it is that you're doing? I don't really like that. I don't really like eating like that. Yeah, in 6 months, this 2-pack is going to turn into a 6-pack. You're going to like it then. By the way, you're going to like it then. Oh, by the way, see you in Fort Lauderdale. Oh, by the way, if you don't see me in the audience, be sure you look on the stage because I'm getting promoted to regional director. Do you guys understand? We want that for you. Whether you like or don't like it is irrelevant when your goal is bigger. When the goal is bigger than what it is that you're doing, what you're doing becomes so important because your goal is so important, and you get into that mindset. That mindset, this is the mind. Look at this is where Ryan is right freaking now. This is where he is right now. It is Larry Raskin, AOMA, all out massive action, everything all day, every day to get the goal accomplished. We talked about this before this call today, this morning, when he was driving back from Laredo. He's got to go back to San Antonio, take care of some business. And by the way, I know he's going back to Laredo on Sunday. He's already got a 20-person PBR scheduled for Sunday night. You guys, you're going to see him go regional vice president. Why? Because now everything is shifted. This has become a priority. And some of you might be thinking, well, you know what? If I was that close to RVP, it'd be a priority for me as well. That is loser mentality. That is not the case. It is any position that you're at. It's any goal that you set. That's the whole purpose of me being on these calls with you guys. So I want to show you something and then we'll be done. Okay. So I want you guys to watch this. So listen up. Please do me a freaking favor and listen up.
Yeah. How did you get your mindset into this alter ego to be comfortable being Black Mamba? Like how did that happen?
It's a good separation for me, emotionally, to be able to put myself in a place where at practice or when I'm training or during games, I switch my mind to something else. I switch my mode into something else, right? For me, it's the equivalent of Maximus, Decimus, Meridius, and Gladiator picking up the dirt, smelling the dirt. It's go time, right? So that was my mental switch. It was like an actor getting ready for a film. You got to put yourself in that cage. When you're in that cage, you are that character. And then when you leave there, it's something completely different. But when I'm in that cage, bro, don't fucking touch me. Don't talk to me. Just leave me alone.
I don't know. Look, for any of you who haven't seen that movie, Pick Up the Dirt. Pick Up the Dirt. For those of you who've seen the movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Stop fooling. If you're doing this, stop fooling. I'm going to get everybody one more shot for next week to do one of those two things for 7 straight days so you can finish this month with production, something positive, your business advancing, so you can get ready for September, and then you guys won't have to deal with me next month or the next, maybe rest of the year or whatever.